The growth of e-mobility in Africa presents a unique opportunity to develop integrated value chain. Harmonizing policies and standards is very important, related also to that context, to the context of the objective to for boost industrial growth, optimize the use of critical materials also. What is the context of the continent? Context is about abundant resources, as Africa holds 70% of the world's global cobalt reserve and significant deposits of lithium, copper, and manganese. Strategic location, we have two major strengths related to that location. As you know, roads coming from Middle East and Asia, there is a lot of issues. So you have an open sea road crossing Africa, and you have also the possibility to be directly linked without crossing by geopolitical tension areas. You have also the opportunity of growing market, as we have seen, 50 million vehicles by 2050. We are at a very low figure currently, but it's the ambition. And also a competitive edge by harmonization that can position Africa as a global leader in EV manufacturing and innovation. So the unified policies, infrastructure, and strategic collaborations can foster a thriving and competitive e-mobility sector. And at last, by working together, African nations can leverage their strengths, optimize resource use, and build a sustainable future for the electric transportation in a broad, in a wide, in all the dimensions, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and also cars and utilitarian transport.
So I think the contextual issues have already been highlighted over and over again. Looking at Southern Africa, most of our countries in the region, they are still at the early stages in as far as developing their automotive sector value chains. But like I said, countries like Namibia and Lesotho have come forward to request to see how ECA can support and strengthen their automotive industries for the integration into the automotive regional value chain. So through this, ECA, through the sub-regional office in Southern Africa, is working on developing a policy framework that will support these two countries and other countries in the region like Zambia, Zimbabwe, Malawi, just to mention a few. Yeah, in all these countries, there is a comparative advantage that each of these countries can come forth and contribute to the development of these regional value chains. I think the mapping was able to show us even countries like Malawi, where they are more endowed in rubber, can they come forth and indeed maybe contribute to the manufacturing of tires and all that. I think now also building on the similar scenario in the case of Lesotho, we know that for Lesotho, the industry is quite new, but the country, we also know that it may not be ready as of now to assemble vehicles, but the plan is to see how Lesotho can be integrated into the regional value chain. One of the issues that I want to highlight in the context of Lesotho is the fact that the country's competitive advantage lies mostly within the aspect of its high labor intensive in terms of automotive components manufacturers. And we also know that Lesotho as a country is surrounded by the big manufacturer, which is South Africa, in terms of its strategic location and proximity to South Africa, which is like a leading manufacturer in Africa. So this gives a comparative advantage for Lesotho and an entry point on how it can explore value chain opportunities within the industry in line with what it can offer in terms of labor and other resources available. At ECA, the first stage that we are working at is to look at developing of the policy framework that should essentially include the following three key components. One, there's the issue of domestic policy harmonization. We are also having the issue of a policy framework in the context of incentivizing of such special economic zone, but also we are looking at the key aspect and component on business linkages for MSMEs in the automotive value chain.
So we have several projects in Congo, especially like assembling three-wheel vehicles, and by next year we are planning to assemble electrical buses. So, and also have many similar projects like electric drones that can be used for security and border protections. In Congo, in China, please. In China, we have another company, Solarandu, that I'm also leading. So we have many opportunities in Africa. but the first thing I want to say that with the days, the 4 days that we have been talking, we can understand that Morocco has an obvious technical advantage, and Congo and Zambia has raw materials advantage. So the first thing that we have to do for good development is mutual trust. For example, in China has been able to accomplish many things. As I told you before, I've been in China for 39 years. I've seen the development of China, of especially electrical vehicles in China, as you can see a baby growing, if you allow me the expression. And they have been able to accomplish many things because they are united. When they have a project, they work on it, they try to put their resources together. So the first thing we have to do is to put our resources together, trust each other, because every one of us has a profit. It's a win-win cooperation. So that's the first thing that we have to keep in mind, and not to have attitude that will obstruct the cooperation. So, and also there will be some measures, some procedures that will allow us to work securely. We can establish joint ventures, and also Morocco can give licenses to with the properties that they have. They're not giving it, but can cooperate by putting it in association with the other countries, so that the interest will be protected. So that will enable us to produce good quality products and competitive in the international market.
Effectively done, regulations and standards harmonization can be a source of local empowerment, leading to industry growth, innovation, and expanded markets. However, if not effectively done, can lead to trade barriers, compliance challenges, and legal uncertainties that will stifle business activities in Africa. The size of Africa presents a unique political, economic, social, environmental, legal, and technological challenges affecting the application of uniform regulation and standards. These challenges have to be considered carefully in line with existing regulatory agreements and standards.
We drive a serious need for a regional automotive policy that must really integrate both internal combustion engine as well as the e-vehicles development in an integrated fashion. And we believe that this will give us a policy directive, as we still see that hybrid models are probably going to still lead us beyond the 2035 decade, and therefore the regional automotive policy must really be integrated. And that also speaks to the rules of origins. We have seen that a lot of our attention is on the internal combustion engines rules of origins, but we actually need now to start working on the rules of origins on the electric vehicles as well as on the batteries. And in the batteries, Namibia believes that given the fact that some of us do have materials, some of us don't have the materials, there can be rules of origins that are differentiated in terms of the vehicle value itself, and then on the battery pack as well as on the battery cells, so that you give space and opportunity for everyone to be able then to play a role around that. In short, also, we believe that given the fact that we have a serious, strong emphasis on hybrid models, we should probably develop internal strategies around how we are going to retrofit the internal combustion engines vehicles beyond 2035. And that speaks now to your quality in emissions, as well as other strategies that you can develop to defray the potential dumping from other countries that are going to be affected by the bans in their countries of the 2035.
The Lesotho investment policy and the incentive framework, industrial policy and special economic zone policies serve as the guiding tools for attracting, retaining investment. These policies are rooted in the principle of the National Strategic Plan, which aims to transform Lesotho from consumer-based economy to one that produces and export and export. Ultimately, these policies will be consolidated into an investment act. Lesotho also welcomes foreign direct investment in almost all areas, business activities and practices. It grants high standards of treatment to protection of foreign investors. Lesotho recognizes the immense opportunities in developing regional automotive value chains and adopting e-mobility solutions to drive economic growth, create jobs, and support sustainable development. Lesotho seeks to integrate into global and regional production networks by leveraging into unique geographic and industrial and policy advantage. Lesotho is also poised to become a key player in the regional automotive and e-mobility landscape by attracting FDI.
To compete globally, we need to work together to make sure our standards match those of major economies like EU and the US. Just to give you some insights about Morocco, Morocco is a great example of a country that has successfully aligned to match these standards to export to major markets such as Europe and the US. For the automotive sector, for example, more than 90% of our local production, which is, we are talking about roughly 500,000 cars produced annually, are exported to 70 countries worldwide. 70 worldwide, with 69% of local integration. So we are not talking about assembly simply, but with an ecosystem of more than 250 to take it further. So indeed, to align to international standards, we need agility. And for example, to counter the carbon tax that will be applied by the EU, Morocco, as a global leader in renewable energy, made the commitment and the engagement to connect all the automotive plants in the country with renewable energy sources so that we can bypass all the tariffs that can be applied by the EU and have free access to this market. Moreover, just to talk really quickly about Morocco, in 2010 we established the Moroccan Institute for Standards called IMANOR, which is tasked with developing Moroccan standards and certifying compliance with standards and regulatory frameworks. Also, certification and quality control is really important and have been implemented in Morocco in partnership with local but also international certification bodies, which is really important. Plus, we have within our Ministry of Industry and Trade that I am representing a quality and market surveillance direction which ensures consumer protection and the quality of products circulating in Morocco. I would also like to emphasize here the importance of partnerships with global players who must collaborate with governments to upgrade regulatory frameworks.